Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Gabriella Martay here from Helps 2. This is the Creatives Conversation. I don't even know what episode we're on right now, but this is great. I'm just glad that we're here. So I have a special guest, and I never really expected to bring him on, but I have been learning so much from this man right here to my left, if you're watching. If you're not, just imagine. His name is Greg McKinney, and he is honestly my pastor.
I am, yes.
Yes, you are. Welcome. This is like a noble moment because my pastor's on the show with us. But like you, Greg, are an excellent creative, and you are really good with like everything branding. And you guys, if you get the chance, please go look up Glory Church, not because it's just our church. I'm the worship director there. What a plug, right? But
What a plug.
Seriously, like everything Glory does is branded. Like every single thing from posters to cups to sorry, we don't sell
Stickers.
I feel like I'm just talking about merchandise, like total plug. But really, like social media,
Yeah.
videos, like, oh, okay, someone's out there driving. When I first saw how you have the same filters for the videos as you do for the pictures, I was like,
Yeah.
I have to talk with Greg about
gosh.
his, I don't know, what do you call it? Like branding theology? Like
Yeah, or just his perfectionist mind.
mindsets.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think Greg is a perfectionist, but the
Yeah.
reality is I think you're really just good at what you do and you have a great eye.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people have that. So I'm bringing Greg on today because we need to dissect your brain.
All right.
And that's really it. And I'm actually really excited to learn from you. So I'm like, this is really for me, and I'm just going to record it so I can go back and like take notes. So let's start with who you are, though. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
know you. It's your first time on our podcast.
For sure.
Hopefully not the last. So be prepared for that. And give us a little background. Like, where are you from? How did you know you were creative?
Yeah.
What does your life look like?
Awesome. Well, my name is Greg McKinney, as she said. I am right now I was a church planter, so we planted
With your wife?
With my wife. My wife
Yeah.
and I, we are married for almost 10 years now. We got 4 crazy kids, all under the age of 7. It's a
They're
lot.
amazing, but like,
They
bless
are.
you.
Yes, they're a lot.
That's a lot of energy.
So we moved into the city about 2.5 years ago to plant Glory Church, which
Yeah.
Gabby's a part of. But my time before that was I grew up, both my wife and I, in a very small town, Arkansas.
That's wild.
So yes, about literally 5.5 hours south of the city is where we grew up. It's called Greenwood, Arkansas. And I was talking to my wife after because you were like, Greg, where did you learn all these Photoshop skills? You
Yeah,
remember when you asked me that?
because he's a Photoshop like master. Like I'm
I
pretty
was-
proficient. You're like a master.
I did it in high school. So early
Really?
on, we had a Mac lab at our school.
Okay.
And so it was a room full of Mac computers, and one of the first in our part of the state. And so we had Photoshop classes, Premiere classes, all of them. So I was in a class called Senior Seminar, where we got to design everything for the school.
Wow.
Anything and everything. So people would put requests in, we would bid the projects, all of that. And so
That's crazy.
I forgot, but that's really how.
Really?
I
You were
learned-
like, I don't know. I just
I-
just been doing it forever.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Since I was a sophomore in high school. And so then I
Okay.
carried it with me. My first job in college was helping all of the RAs and all the people who were above, in student development. I helped them design all their things. And then it's sort of been the side thing. I mean, when I was a youth pastor, I designed everything. And
Yeah. And so here you
that's what
are.
it is. Yeah.
Like you title as a pastor, but like
Yep.
the reality is like you're doing all the branding for Glory Church, and it's incredible.
Oh, yeah. But I always have just put it under, people don't know this about pastors, but we have so many hats.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
already,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, who did the stage design? Probably the pastor.
Yeah. Yeah. Like low key.
Or the magic fairies
Yeah.
during the week.
Magic Fairy. Where do you get those from? I'm just kidding.
Right, the pastor.
The pastor, he bought them. Okay, so yeah, okay, that's my first question. And then when did you know as a human being, like when you were creative? Like, did it ever hit you, or have you always been this way, or was there like a moment?
Oh, that's hard. In high school, I was very much I'm good at too many things, but not really good at anything. And that's how I was. So I had this mindset going throughout my young adulthood was I might be good at many things, but I'm not really good at very many of them.
Yeah, there's
And
like a saying about that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So then I was like into maybe like 3 years into ministry,
Yeah.
when I started realizing, wow, everyone's deeming me as a perfectionist, like,
Mm.
or like the things that I do where it might take someone 2 hours to do, but I can do it in 30 minutes and
Wow.
make it look like just as good or better, but sounds really arrogant, but that's
No,
not,
but that's real.
Yeah.
People are
So
like
I
that. There's
didn't
people like that.
realize it until about halfway through, my 7 years at my previous church. And so then I was like, wow, okay, this is a huge part of me.
Really?
About that time was when I fell in love with writing, when I was in college. And so the two sort of went hand in hand together. I would write.
Can you
and
talk
design.
about that? That's like a whole element of your life that we're like haven't even mentioned. Like you're a
Yeah.
pastor, but like you started this whole other brand called
Yeah.
Declare Glory with your wife.
Yeah.
And anybody else a part of it, or just you two that mainly started it?
Mainly us.
So Declare Glory, please tell us more because I'm gonna butcher it.
Yeah,
Tell us about
no, you're
Declare
good.
Glory.
Yeah, so I fell in love with writing when I was in college. My senior thesis actually began to be like my book that is published now, and I just fell in love with it. But the really easy side of writing is devotions. Like devotions are really easy. I could write a chapter book, and that takes a long time. But
Right.
like daily devotions are really simple. So when I was a youth pastor, my heart really felt convicted because our students were just like not in the Word of God. They had a very small relationship with that, and so I was like, all right, this summer we're going to dive into it. We're
Yeah.
going to do a summer through the Psalms. And so I created an Instagram account
That's super catchy.
for my student ministry.
Summer through the Psalms.
We're going to do the summer in the Psalms. I chose 60 Psalms that
Whoa.
we were going to do everyday devotions,
crazy.
Monday through Friday. Started it, put it on Instagram, used hashtags. And that summer, it grew from like the 80 from my student ministry all
Yeah.
the way to 5,000.
Whoa.
And then one summer. And I have never paid for anything.
Like
We
no
just-
advertising.
No advertising, no nothing.
It's organic.
To
Wow.
5,000. And people were asking, where's the beginning of this study? And so we started printing it. I had a background in like printing it and knowing how to design things. And so that's when I designed the first study book.
Oh, I wish I would have had the book.
Oh yeah. Well, that
I
one
have
was,
the Miracles book at home.
yeah. So that one was actually our third one we did.
Yeah.
So this one was just over the Psalms. And then the next one we wrote and designed a whole devotional book over Romans. And so then it just went
And then the
crazy from there.
Miracles book.
Yeah. And then the Miracles, and then the season study, and then our Advent study.
Wow. Okay. So how many books in total have you guys
So that
produced?
is 4 devotional books.
Okay.
And then my personal book. So,
Which is called?
More Than Clay.
Okay, so if this is on YouTube and you're watching
Oh,
YouTube, we're going to
gosh.
link it. I mean, we're all about supporting each other. So,
Yeah.
and then we'll link Glory Church too. Like, why
Yeah.
not? And everything he's talked about, Declare Glory, we'll put it all in there. So,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, so essentially Declare Glory it has a graphic with a verse, the theme verse of the devotion, and
Yeah.
then every single day, Monday through Friday, I have
Super well designed.
Yeah, designed the image, put the text, all of that. And so
And I'm not just saying this because, like, I know you, like, I consider you a brother,
No,
like,
yeah.
now. Like, I'm not saying that it's good because of that. Like, it's really easy to do that. I hate lying
Yeah.
to people. Like, if I don't think it's cool, I just wouldn't say anything. But, like, I think it's cool. And I've given it to some of my friends, and my friends are like, who designed this? And I'm like, my pastor. And they're like, no way. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah, so-
Yahweh. Just kidding. That's
you
a
want
bad
to talk
joke.
about branding.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful on names. So the original name of that account was Reading Truth,
Ooh.
which if you've ever heard of She Reads Truth and He Reads Truth, we had some like name problems.
Ooh.
So
Like trademarking kind of stuff?
Trademarking issues. So
Okay.
you got to be careful of that.
Yeah, you do.
And so there was nothing like legal wrong, but out of courtesy they requested, because in a matter of a year we grew to hosting like 11,000 people on that Instagram account.
So you became kind of like a threat to them. I wouldn't say
yes.
threat, but like a competing.
Yeah, but I like kindly emailed. I was like, I don't think you realize like I'm a pastor designing this on my free time. Like
Yeah.
it's like 11 p.m. and that's when I write.
Yeah, yeah. That's when
It's-
magic happens.
I don't have this whole like team
Yeah.
with me. It's just me.
But when you're good at
Don't
something,
be afraid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were building influence. So.
Yeah. So then that's when we created and changed the name to Declare Glory,
Which is
then
super cool.
Glory Church came from.
Glory Church, yeah,
Yeah.
and we're here, and it's
Yeah.
like we're in our second year now.
Yep.
It's wild. And so, well, I think people are gonna be like, how'd you meet Gabriella Martay?
Yeah.
And so I think I should just like pitch in. So last year, this is just a random aside, and we're gonna get back to, because I want to talk to you today
Yeah.
about how do you brand. I want you to take us from step A all the way to whatever step you land on.
Yeah.
When you like brand it Declare Glory and Glory Church and whatever else. I'm sure you've done other stuff too, but like whatever else. I want you to take us through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But first, how I met you, I remember you. Well, I want to hear from your perspective. How did you meet me?
Social media, right?
Yeah. Which you're really good at, by the way.
Yeah. So I got into this habit with Declare Glory, actually. Anytime people, and this is how you organically, if you want a free thing, organically grow, is I would personally message every single person who followed us, saying what we are and what we provided people.
Wow.
And
What does that look like? Okay, so like
I copied them. So I like literally in my notes, I typed up, "Hi, my name is Greg McKinney. My wife and I lead this Declare Glory account. We are pastors in Northwest Arkansas." At the time we were.
Yeah.
And we give free daily devotions. We have a website. You can access and sign up for free devotions sent to your email, or, you can purchase one of our printed studies.
Oh, wow.
And almost every single time they either hearted it or thanked me. And
Okay.
the moment that they do that, it adds into the algorithm and puts us in their newsfeed, because now they've had this more intimate conversation with us
Right.
on DMs.
Wow.
And so that like instantly grew our ability to be seen, and then they would share, and so people thought they knew us because we had that conversation. So the same thing, I took that same thing and applied it for Glory Church when we moved here into the new city. I started following like different organizations that I love, different places. I probably actually came across you. I actually think I know. I started like looking through the people who liked Ruby Jean's Juicery.
Oh, yeah, which is a huge juicery here in Kansas City.
Yeah. So we've done a lot. Our first like startup party was with Ruby Jeans, and we've done a lot along Troost. And so I think
That's
many
awesome.
many people in the community who are I guess like kingdom influencers, I found through liking Ruby Jean stuff. And so
Really?
I would follow them, and then I don't do the follow unfollow, but I follow people, and then when
Which is
they
good.
follow me back, I would just send who we are. And so we did
That's
that
awesome.
all the time. And so
And it works because I'm sitting here
then
with
you
you.
responded back,
Yeah.
and we started a conversation.
Yeah. And then months went by, and I actually came out because
Yeah.
I remember the pandemic began, and I think everything church for me had kind of shut down. And I was like, I think I just need to get out. And you guys had an outdoor concert.
Yeah.
Not concert, but like worship session. And I was like, I'm just going to go do something different. And then I met you guys.
Yeah.
And then months went by, and you hit me up saying, hey, we need a worship director. Do you know anybody? And I was like, no, but no, I'm just kidding. I know a ton of musicians. I was like, yeah, I might. Let me pray about it. So I
Yeah.
prayed about it, and I felt like I was supposed to do it. So I just here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been what, 5 months?
It has. It's been
Yeah.
great 5 months too.
Yeah, it's
We've
been
loved
great.
it.
I love you guys. Yeah. And I'm learning to love you guys more and more every day. Not learning, but that's horrible. Can we scratch that?
She's learning to deal with us more and more every day.
I'm just loving you guys more and more every day. That's the human heart. So, okay, that's cool. Now, let's jump in to the good stuff. I mean, that was great. And that whole Instagram thing, that's I'm going to use that.
Yeah,
Amber, if you're
please.
watching this, we're going to do this because
Yeah.
that's powerful.
Just copy and paste.
Copy paste. But it's intimate.
Yeah, it
and
really
it's
is, yeah.
a lot of people don't do that now.
Yeah.
You can pay for ads, and I've done that. But I think that's super powerful.
Ask the majority of random people who are part of Glory Church where they found us. They will either say Instagram or Facebook.
Really?
It's because, especially our older generation, they're like, the pastor befriended me on Facebook
that
and
crazy?
then invited me to church.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, of course I did. But it's like this huge deal.
It's natural to you,
Yeah.
but so foreign to our world to
Yeah.
do that. That's dope. I'm putting it in my back pocket. Period. Okay. Let's jump in. Branding. Dun dun dun. Intro the music. No music, but Greg also plays the drums and the keys, by the way. You do a lot. Okay, so that's a whole aside. Tell us about branding. Where, if you were to start something new right now, like a new, let's say, small business or creative project, where would you start with branding?
Yeah. You have to, I would say the start is defining what the product is.
Okay,
for sure.
fair.
What it is you're going to do, where you're going to go with it, all of that.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest, pit that we can fall into is thinking that branding is only a logo.
Oh, gosh, yes. Speak
a logo
to that.
or colors or things like that. But branding is so I have this product. or I have this thing or this company or this business, and I believe in it and I stand for it. So now the branding behind it, it's not just logo. You're not just throwing that name on something and then calling it. But it's branding is like whatever feeling your company will evoke, whatever like the imaging that comes to mind, how you will engage with them, like the way that someone will feel as they either use your product or go to your product. And I mean, like Chick-fil-A, it's not just the chicken. I mean, that would be an ugly logo, like just a chicken.
Chicken sandwich.
Right. But it's like now you have the whole feeling that you have with it, like the perfectionist, like the quality, the character. And so all of that is a part of branding that we have to like really, you have to see. And so it goes into, all right, this branding, this company or this side thing, who is it for? Start naming that client, like start naming like, and not just like the random Karens in the world, like generic, but like, who is it?
The random Karens. Continue. We will not jump off that bridge.
Sorry. But who is it for? Like, defining that person, because branding then is everything that they will feel regarding your thing, like your company, your
I like that
organization.
because I don't think enough people actually think down those lines.
Because then you get the creative people who see your ugly logo and they're like, oh, what is that? Or you get the people like my wife, who is very, very rationally minded, and your like obscure logo she's like, is that a camping store or a church? Ooh. Because that's just a mountain.
It's confusing.
Yeah. So like we want to define the logo so quickly.
Yeah. But that's really like one of the last steps. Yeah.
And I'm huge on like, I really want a good logo on things.
For sure.
But branding has everything. It's from the images that you put through, like to the filters, the consistency, the integrity behind it, like what character you're building, all of that.
Okay. So I feel like that's like the great theology, branding theology, which I'm going to just call it that, branding perspective. Yeah. But like practically, like I know there's people watching this, like for sure, creatives, musicians, artists, designers, illustrators, but then like small business owners too. Yeah. Okay. 2 questions. Like practically, what does all of that look like? Like what would Greg McKinney do if you're starting a new project? Yeah. Like practically first.
Yeah. So, I mean, this will help.
Take us through a case study.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, if we get this building as a church,
Glory
we will
Church.
also have an event space. And so now we're branding, and it would be a branding of this whole event space that is separate of Glory Church, but will also attract. So we have this, the title of it speaks huge. So getting like in a pros and cons list of what I'm going to call this whole thing. Is it Glory Events? Is it Glory Venue? What are the feelings that are going to evoke from either? What's the tagline with it? What's the mission behind it? And I know that sounds really simple and
almost like pointless,
but it's like the basics, because every organization has a vision statement. Yeah. Though like we talk more about it in a church kind of setting, every organization has like a mission, their like tagline statement. Yeah. And then branding sort of flows through that. And so sit down and I would like do that first. And then I mean like Pinterest boards are really helpful, but starting to pick out.
Do you use Pinterest boards?
I
was just
do with my wife a little bit. Like she loves doing Pinterest. I think it's helpful to we could say a mood board. Those of you like that. That's very similar. Cool. So like picking out in the market all around you, what are the things that you like or dislike? All of that's a part of branding. Is what will it look like, your thing? So at the venue, what kind of things are we going to have? Branding now will be like obviously, if we are in a city, we're not going to use anything that's more grassy field.
Yeah, like country style.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, like your helps to media, like as you doing that, like you're not going to use some random farm as like any part of your branding. So now you have clarity. It might be more urban looking, and so that helps like define sort of the like character, I guess the big parameters, and then we get
it's like a bowling alley. I see bowling alley when you're saying all this, like as a visual, like you put up the little rails so
Yep.
that like the bowling ball will stay within those rails.
Yeah, and
like
so
you
you're just
set
working
the parameters.
inward.
Yeah.
So I would say like vision is the big part. And
Yeah.
then you start getting like these mood boards, and it brings it
Right.
a little closer and everything. And then, I mean, the really fun stuff is, you know, working through the colors. What colors
Yeah.
do I like? Or
Yeah.
what fonts do I like? And not being too crazy with it. Or I like to stick with like 3 fonts with every
Max.
branding.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, other ones are fun. They're like fun fonts, but
Well, that can start to confuse people too. When
Yeah.
you see multiple fonts, you're
Yeah.
like, well, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So typically do like a serif, a sans serif, and then a script. I love throwing scripty
That's how I knew
fonts.
Greg was legit when he came at me with the serif versus sans serif. I said, "Oh, this man is next level." If
So
you
it
don't know
doesn't
what that
have
is,
feet,
go Google
or
it.
it does have feet, and then a script.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, and I like team up all of that with each other, and then just clarifying because even if you want, like, let's say you're building a brand, but you're not the creative, so you're going to go to an artist who's going to design your logo for you.
Right.
They're going to ask you all of these questions. What is your tagline? Like, what are the colors that you want? Who is your market audience? Like, what feelings do you want to
Yeah.
evoke through it? Who are like, are you reaching like millennials? Cause that's very different. Or are you reaching like a wide range? Like who are the audience ages?
Yeah,
So they're
absolutely.
going to ask all of those questions. So you're going to have to know it anyways, whether you're the one who's going to design it or not.
Yeah.
Cause then you can present that to the person who's going to help you create like your branding, in general.
Yeah,
But,
that's great. I feel like I can just hear somebody saying, well, what I do is for everyone. Like everyone can enjoy what I do. And I think there's some danger in that.
Yeah, that's a lie.
because yeah, your branding looks like a circus.
Yeah.
Like, and so for me at Helps Too, what we did at first, we were for everybody. Like when I bought Helps Too like 7 years ago from George Temple, cool, amazing man. I remember thinking, who are we going to serve? Because we were
Yeah.
serving ministries at that point, but it wasn't really making revenue. We were losing money, and that's fine. And I love ministries. I'm a part of a ministry. I
Yeah.
love ministries. So we were like, let's open the doors though, because we got to keep this thing alive. So we opened it to anybody who had a good vision, and we could serve them with our marketing services. And so we were like, this is great, but we feel like we're just throwing paint everywhere, and we
For
don't
sure.
know what's happening, and we don't know how to design our own like marketing efforts. It's like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So we sat down and we literally thought through this for 2 years. We were like, who is this going to be for?
Yeah.
And then eventually I remember coming on like this virtual meeting because we've always been virtual. And I'm like, you guys, I think I've got it. And they were like, oh gosh, here comes Gabby again with another I think I've got it moment. And I was like, because I had, gone back and forth. Well, maybe it's just nonprofits or maybe, and they
Yeah.
were like, okay, let's do it. And then we do it. It was not working. So then we decided we're going to market to creatives. We're creatives. That brings life to us when we think about it. Our brand is mainly for creatives. Like if you come to us and you're not, like you don't consider yourself a creative, which most people are to be honest, but like if you don't consider yourself a creative, we would still serve you. We would never reject you. But like we are only producing things like this podcast or like books and courses for creatives.
Yeah.
And that has helped us with our branding. All of a sudden we're like, we get our mission, we get our vision.
Yeah.
Our vision is so simple. Like we are here to help you build your influence and sustain your craft and to grow as a creative.
Yeah.
Period. And so we're here to help creatives do that through just like different resources that we provide. But our branding has totally changed because of that.
Yeah.
Like our color palette is like wild and fun, and it was like dark and dreary before. And so like here we
Yeah.
are. It's completely different. Our logo didn't change because it's just great. Thank you, Hannah Royce, who made it. But like, yeah, I think it really matters saying like, hey, I have this niche audience versus this overall audience. If somebody who's a grandma wants to, and we love grandmas, I have a grandma, if they want to come to the brand and participate, open arms, right? But like
for sure. Yeah.
that niche, have you experienced somebody, I'm sure you have, you don't have to say who it is, but like who was so broad that their branding was like not good? And if so, did you say anything or?
It's hard because most of the time when you want to do really broad, you end up either like having a very outdated look, which is, it's so interesting when you want to do really broad.
That's interesting.
That's most of the things. So, we're for anyone. Then they don't really care what it looks like. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like you don't really have anything to shoot for. It's just
yeah.
like everything.
And so a lot of, It's hard. I've worked with marketing companies or companies that helped make website designs and things like that.
Yeah.
And they were trying to transition out of small jobs into corporate,
Oh.
but like were for everyone still.
Yeah.
But like looking at their site, it was just really confusing. And I think that's that's the issue is I just want a really simple job.
Yeah.
But like now I'm seeing all of these things that like don't apply to me anymore because now they're moving from like doing individual jobs, like more small client, more sole company to mass, producing things for Nike is what they do now.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
so like as you transition from that, now they're strictly big. Like but that
all they do.
transition when they brought me on to help with the smaller people to build their websites, it was really confusing. I was like,
Wow.
but what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
where do I fit in this? Or the
Wow.
people, it would be like, what services do you provide? What are your prices?
Yeah.
And so it's really confusing when you don't do it. It looks very either outdated or standoffish.
Yeah. Or stoic. I
Or
love the word
stoic, yeah.
stoic for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but even with the event space, so I actually sat down with Lexi, who is a creative genius, and we nailed down 3 female names. We named her. We
okay.
named them and who they were, like
As like potential like users of the venue space.
Yeah, as potential brides.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
So we, the 3 different brides and who they would be, what their characteristics are, how they would find us, what they would what they would like about our venue versus other venues, and how we would dictate the story of it to them.
Love it.
And
That's
so
cool.
like doing more than 3 is okay, but 3 was really helpful.
Yeah.
So they're all different age groups, but still, even though it's all different, it's in the genre from 20 to 38.
Yeah.
20 to 34,
Yeah, that's great. That's super helpful. I love that. Okay, I want to get back into the practical things that you've done to build brands. You said we went over fonts,
Yep.
kind of like logo, and then like starting with mission, vision, all of that, and audience. What are some more practical things? Like, what do you do? Like, people want to know. I want to know. What does Greg McKinney do? Like, okay, you pick your fonts, but like you do so much more than that. Like, I know you have filters and stuff that you create. Like, go nerd on us and tell us, like, if you were building a brand today,
Yeah.
what are the practical, like, tangible things you do?
Yeah.
Sorry, I know that's a big question, but
No, it's
walk
good.
us through.
I mean, what are the outlets that you're going to put it on? Because then that also like determines stuff. Like you're a YouTube person.
Yes,
so
I am.
Everything you create with your brand is now put into a different, like even template size than what I
Yeah.
mess with. You're in the 1920 by 1080,
Yeah.
which if I want to be nerd.
So proud that you know
there-
that.
That's like any slides, anything we do
Yeah.
for church, any videos are always the 1920 by 1080.
Mm-hmm.
But for like Instagram or things like that, I literally solely use like the 8x10. Like I don't know why I wanted to max the biggest that they can ever do, and so then it it puts parameters on everything that I do very practically. But
Because
you
your
just
outlet's
ask-
mainly Instagram.
yeah, either Instagram or Facebook, whatever.
Okay.
So that really helps, like nailing down. So you got where your people are.
Yeah. So you figured out your people, vision, all of that.
and now you know-
what are you going to use to reach
Now
them?
I'm hitting Facebook moms.
Okay.
And so then
Yeah.
you're doing this, or I'm hitting like I have
That's true.
Instagram or
Yeah.
whatever it is. So then you design based on that, and so you start very practically, like what are the things that I want to push. Branding wise, I want to have something that's already prepared for them to see. So that's a
Yeah.
whole lot of like your website, based off like your story that you have to what things you provide. So if event space, I want to have all the answers. I want to put already in my mind like the questions that they're going to have, so it's answered on the website.
On the website. Okay, pause there. What do you use to build your websites? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I've done Squarespace.
They're great.
It's really easy. That's the one that I like doing, and the main thing is everyone who's watching this who gets money through making websites might not like me, but I've never liked
We
telling-
do. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, never like telling someone to like pay for people to keep on a retainer, because then you end up paying like this monthly fees for them to do something that you could have done really easily if you just knew the password.
Yeah.
And then like had extra 30 minutes to do. And so and that's when I was doing websites, I've done probably 15 before, but I love Squarespace because then I can just hand the keys to
someone else
and they can know how to drive.
It's super user friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
things like Wix are too. Like, yeah.
Things like that. So I think I did Squarespace strictly because we were doing an online store too, and they had the ability to at the early days. And now I have Shopify for Declare Glory's store.
That's great.
And so I've built clothing store websites using Shopify, and that's really nice.
It's more expansive for e-commerce
products, all that.
Yeah.
But Squarespace, what I like, you can just have a basic, who we are, like what our team is, what our visions are. There's a blog that you could tell the story of your branding or things like that. You can collect, email marketing that way. And then very easily you can have like your prices or who you like the questions that are asked. And so I would have all of that down. Like that's one of the first things.
So website first.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to make a branding thing and you've answered all those questions, now you funnel into a website, because now if you're on Instagram or you want to start promoting it for people, they're going to be like, where's your website? And if you
people do say, I hear people, well, you don't need a website because Facebook pages and stuff like that. Yeah. I think they really do add credibility. And I'm not saying that because I'm a marketing agency owner.
I was literally about to say, if you send someone like, that sounds terrible.
No, say it.
Okay, yeah. So
unless you're going to cuss and stuff.
No.
Pastor, then don't. No, I'm just kidding.
No. You can definitely tell a beginner, like if you want to like establish yourself in this, Facebook's great to use, and maybe you should have a Facebook page. Yeah. But like if you're ready to establish yourself and create like the branding for your thing, it should definitely be on a website. And the reason is like a wedding venue that only has a Facebook page, like that starts getting really confusing. Or a marketing team that only has a Facebook page, but they're telling you that they can like up your marketing.
It'd be laughable, I would say. Yeah. Marketing, at least. Yeah.
A coordinator or what are other businesses that are more sole?
I mean, even like a bakery or a restaurant, like there are some that only have Facebook pages.
Yeah.
And I understand there's budgets and stuff, but the reality is like a lot of us still check websites.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where you can see like the menu, all of that.
Because we're used to navigating. Like in our minds, we might not think about it. It's like when you get in a car, you think, well, the steering wheel's here. Like there's probably an ignition switch or keyhole right here. Windshield wipers here or here. Like you just mentally already kind of know how to navigate. And a website is very much like that. Yeah. And even though Facebook is pretty navigational.
Right. Like, but when you're like, I'm trying to find a bakery in town. Yeah. You're not going to go to Facebook and type in bakeries. You're going to go to Google and type in bakeries.
And what comes up?
They're never going to show up a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Unless you type in that bakery Facebook. And then it'll go.
Yeah. That's good. That's good to think about it from that angle.
Yeah.
I love that.
The first thing you'll do is Google.
Yeah. That's huge. Or Yelp it. That's a whole nother subject. Just popped your balloon.
Or Yelp it.
No, probably Google. I always Google. Yeah. That's great. Okay. So website. Oh, and then one tidbit for all of you out there who feel like website design is beyond you. It's okay to ask for help. I mean, Greg is a genius, and like we do this all the time. Like we just like pop things up and send it out. So if you feel like you're struggling, reach out. You can even to us. Like we're not just here to take your money. We're here to help you. So like questions@helps2.com. Like we'll help you. Okay. Sure. What's the next thing? Websites then.
Then, I mean, it's so hard because it would be different for anyone.
That's true.
Is there a product? Is there a launch of the product?
Yeah.
Is there like an opening day?
Well, let's go with the wedding venue scenario because it'll be different for everybody. So right now it's kind of like when you go down your own path. But would you go, if you generalize what the next step is, would it be more like find your platform and then start pushing towards?
Yeah, so I would do website.
Okay.
And then I would start creating content.
Okay.
For branding purposes now, creating content like what the layout of the building will be like, will look like. Okay. Because then that's content on the website, everything. Because I don't want to just say that it's a venue, or you don't want to just say it's a restaurant.
Are we having concerts or
any pictures of like what the food looks like, or any of those kind of things. And so I would start collecting all of that up, and then
So you're educating with your content.
yes.
Okay, that's huge.
A
Like
whole lot
educational.
of that. Yep.
Content.
And then also in the back of my mind, I've already set a date on when I would like a grand opening.
Okay.
And so we want our first client by this, or whatever it is.
You have goals you're hitting. Okay.
And so now I'm already working toward that.
Okay.
And maybe I'm not booking for this season if it's an event space, but I'm booking for the next season. So now we are like, what will we do the first, to start booking? So now branding wise, people need to know what it actually will look like to happen. And so that's when you have restaurants that have like pre-opening days where they open up their place to a short number of people, so that they can even get media of it. They can take pictures of real people in their in their place,
video footage. They hire an entree, and then
you also do branding, like who is this for, what are they wearing, all of that. Like you can get really,
that's so good.
So like the website of a restaurant who hasn't opened yet would still have photos of people on their website.
And
that's a part of branding because
that's
you're
huge.
seeing what they're wearing. You're seeing like what the lighting is in the room, and you can tell really quickly if I'm Googling like a date night place and I see kids on their website, like only like families, that I won't probably go to there to dinner. But if I see like a dressed up, like button down, so all of that, all of that goes into branding.
Helps you decision make.
Which is, so you really have to start working through that. So for the event space, we are going to have a series of photographers who are going to be coming in, and we have photographer friends, and we're going to try to do a mock wedding. We're going to try to
love it.
that kind of thing. And this will be even before we open up, just so that we can have real footage that will help with the branding. And so that just helps clarify, I guess, what we will be. It helps. Most people don't really know what you are until they see it visibly.
Yeah, we're so visual. I heard someone today on a sales networking virtual event that I went on to. He was just like, the speaker was like, we are more than 80% visual.
Yeah.
And so legitimately, like, even like when it comes to sales for a company, he was just talking about sales. He was like, I never just send someone a proposal. I always say, hey, can we go through it together?
Yeah.
'Cause I want to be able to show you and like let you hear it, see it, even touch it if you can, because we are so much more than just like, let's just hear about it. We got to see it.
Yeah.
Even touch it. Like,
So
like, that's huge.
Yeah. Even a company like you who has worked with, that's why testimonies are huge.
Yes.
That helps people. Like that's a part of branding.
It is.
Capturing the stories of past like people.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of what a new person is going to feel as they move forward with you.
Yeah.
So all of that. And then as we move forward, I would start marketing.
Okay, tell us about that. So branding is different than marketing? Is that what you're telling us? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I know that, but
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure everyone else says.
Yeah.
That sounds so pompous. I just want to make sure everyone else says. But some people don't. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure. So then I would start the marketing side. And so anything from Google ads to paying for like Google search words, all of that kind of stuff, to Facebook ads, to like social media ads.
What would you do for the wedding space from a marketing perspective? I love hearing people's different takes on things.
I mean, I would definitely do Google ads.
Okay, because people are searching.
Yes.
So beat the search odds.
So then we would create like certain words that we would want, I think one of the brides, Kendall, I think is her name.
Yeah.
So we would start like, what are the words that Kendall would search based off who we've made her to be?
Yeah.
What would she search with a wedding venue in Kansas City?
Okay.
And so then like, cause wedding venue in Kansas City is so broad, but affordable, or a, urban wedding.
Yeah. Urban, downtown.
Or wedding venue for 300 plus or 200 plus.
Okay.
So all of those things. And so then like we start figuring out what those words would be that they search based off of now our brand already, and who we want them to be, who is searching.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's like, that would be the number one thing. So not just a church in the city, but a church, like an urban church in the city, or
for sure.
things like a new church.
Yeah.
Some people really like new churches.
Yeah. And they want to like see something new, be part of something new.
And so things like that. with Glory Church, it was interesting. People just keep liking the word glory. Like, that's the reason.
Really?
Yeah. I don't
That's
even
really
know why,
random.
but they're like, I came because of the word glory. And I was like,
It is
cool.
very different. I've
Yeah.
never seen a church with the word glory in it
Yeah. So
as
that
its
was,
name.
that was helpful, but that's all branding. And
Yeah.
so then on like Facebook marketing or anything like that, it would just go forward. You'd be very targeted on who that person is, what, like, obviously just engaged or in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
All of those. And you get really awkward on Facebook with determining who that is.
Yeah. Something that also helps on Facebook ads, just in case you guys are ever branching into them or you're curious. Somebody showed me this, one of our interns actually, like way back when, engaged shoppers. People that actually make informed decisions, like you can put it in engaged shoppers as like kind of like criteria as to who you want to, target. And there's people on Facebook that are very engaged with the ads.
Yeah.
It will target them. So they're more likely to click and check it out.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, because I even go crazy as they like this bridal shop in KC, or they like.
That's great. Yeah.
Because then
It's very niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then even the people who maybe are not brides who like that wedding now have like, I keep seeing this venue up. Maybe you should check out that. So it's just
And then
helpful
word of
in general.
mouth starts going. That's
Anyone
cool.
any way that you can get yourself into that, I guess, scene.
Yeah, that spear arena, whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it. Yeah, I think that's great. All right, so marketing in place. Is there any other steps? Is that it, or what else?
I mean,
I like this. Have you ever talked about this out loud?
No.
I see your face. You're like, you got to go deep.
I mean, and then I start chatting it up. Like,
Okay.
You're going to start getting information. Like, people are going to either start liking that or anything. You are going to start booking tours. You're going to start having people answering, like, having questions. You're going to be answering those questions, all of that kind of stuff. So that I would start literally just sharing the story. I mean, it's constant. Especially if you're like trying to build something new, a whole brand.
Right.
Now you either have the people who are going to help you communicate that brand on a small thing, because those are the things that matter, like the whole sending out the text message or the email that is the follow-up after they
those
followed
little
you.
things that feel almost dumb and ridiculous, I'd say, are so powerful.
Yep.
Yeah.
So those kind of things would all be happening at the same time.
Okay.
And then I hope,
Then it just like kind of just keeps growing. And I would say you would even adjust things as you go, right? Because nothing's perfect.
Yep. If you're gonna have an opening event, you start thinking about like, how are we gonna market this? We're gonna have a videographer, like all those kind of things.
Keep looking at Andre, our
I know,
videographer.
are we gonna have a
behind
videographer?
the
Are we
camera.
gonna like, what's it gonna look like? What are the shots we want to capture? Like that, like, let's showcase the space if it's an event venue, all of that.
I love it. Okay, so what would you say to somebody? You got to find your own way in this. Like, there's some elements, like you talked about, that are very practical.
For sure.
But what would you say to somebody who is like, it's taking so long to grow my brand, like to grow my project, company, whatever? What would you say? Because I see you guys, I mean, you were here when Glory Church started. And I know it's been a process. I see your face changing. So I know it has really been a process. Like, and you've had to endure that. What would you say to like a creative who is jumping in and they feel like, I don't know, this is a lot. Like, I feel like I'm struggling. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, give us some wisdom. What would you, or you can even tell us about your experience with it,
So my wife and I have talked about this a lot in the sense of people aren't engaging, or I would spend hours upon like writing a book or designing something, and then only like, let's say 60 people purchase it, and I'm like, okay, that's great, but I'm only making X money, whereas like I spent so much time on this.
Right. And
like,
maybe money on it too.
Yeah, and money.
Yeah.
And so like, where's the justification in that? And so it's definitely a question of like, is this a side gig? I mean, that was a side gig and it was a passion of mine, versus like, I mean, if you keep like hitting, I don't know, in the red every month, I mean, that's a different question, and that's a harder like thing. And sometimes the grind is more hurtful than helpful, but if you are making ends meet and you just haven't hit that goal that you've been wanting, because you have a big vision for your company or big vision for your brand, and it's just not happening. It's not taking off like you thought it would, but it's still going, but it's not taking
And
off.
it's not hurting you.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I would there's a part of resting that is really good. Celebrating the 100, even though you want 1,000.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
celebrating, like how can you tend the 100? Because odds are that those 100 would be the best bet to getting you to the 1,000.
Yeah.
Whether you start how can I make sure that they are cared for?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So a company, or let's say a bakery, since we brought up that,
Yeah.
the people who are our go-to people, how can we celebrate them when they
Right.
come in?
Right.
Now your brand is even greater because these are the people who are constantly in your restaurant.
Right.
So how can
Yeah.
you celebrate, or is there the whole card that they can get if they punch, a certain amount, but
Right.
or more so, can we name a baked good off of them? And now they're going to have other people go get the Bridget because it's named after.
Because I'm Bridget.
But then it's this
Yeah.
place actually, I don't go there very often. I didn't even know they noticed me, but they did. And so things like that, how can you, just changing the way you think.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to get that 101 person to come, why don't you celebrate number 99?
Yeah.
And that's
I
the
love
mindset.
that, because I think what I'm hearing you say is get unfocused off, if that's a word, unfocused off the numbers.
Yeah.
And focused on the people.
Yeah.
Because every brand is encountering people. And I think our society, if I might be ever so honest and just transparent, has really become focused on hitting numbers because
Yeah.
it's status. I have 10,000 followers. Look at me. I'm great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you don't have 10,000 followers. Why would I ever trust you? And there's a certain validity, I would say, to the numbers, right?
Yeah.
Certain opportunities get, presented to you when you have
Yeah.
100,000 followers or whatever. But the reality is at the end of the day, you are serving people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you can't really look to them and treat them well, why would more want to come?
Yep. And it's even harder, the way that social media works without the algorithm and everything.
Yeah,
And so
that's very
algorithm
true.
changes really hurt small businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, the most recent ones have been really damaging to people with a even more spiritual cause, legitimately.
There's legitimate things. Yeah.
Yes.
I hear you. Yeah.
And so we've seen immense shutdown on Declare Glory even. We used to have, there was this if you have 6% of your people engaging on average, and that's a good thing. Have you ever heard that rule?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back in the day, maybe
Back in the day, 6 months ago.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Okay.
4 years ago, it was if you have 6% of the people who follow you engaging on a daily basis or weekly basis, then it's good. That's good. We used to have 15%.
Wow. That's a lot.
A lot of people. And we're getting 100 new followers a week.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was messaging 100 people every week. It
a
was
lot.
so
Yeah.
much. But that was in the days when I was really hitting it.
Yeah.
But as we started backing off, especially when we moved here to KC, I took a back seat for the push, the grind of that. And so you could see the suffering
Yeah.
of it. The engagement started lowering down. The algorithm kicked us to the side. And so those seasons of rest are also really hard because now you have to
'Cause
work.
some things look like they decline.
Yeah, but at the same time, we still have those people who hit amen, they comment every amen every day.
Yeah.
And so being able to just message them thank you so much for that. I just did that today to someone who they've only come to Glory Church twice, but have liked or commented on almost everything we posted
Wow.
over on Facebook.
That's
and
wild.
I just messaged them this morning I am so thankful. I'm so encouraged every single time I see that you like something.
Wow.
And so I invited them to Easter. And so it's that whole principle of let me care for the people who we are reaching.
Yeah.
And
be relational.
Yeah, and
we
that's
always
enough.
say here, don't ever take the social out of social media.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people do, and they just push their media, and they don't ever actually sit down and add value.
Yeah.
Say, hey, how are you? And that's really, so one tip that I noticed on the algorithm, just speaking to that really quickly, is that when you actually socialize on social media at a good time, your stuff gets pushed to the top.
I know.
Isn't it a bummer? I mean, because
I
we should be social, and I want to be social on Instagram.
But that's
it's
the
a
hardest
lot.
part of
It's hard.
so your brand is you.
Yeah, well, Martay Music is, for sure.
So
yeah.
Martay Music is you. It was so hard to get into the mindset of like
being social as a
being
company
social as
or
Declare Glory.
yeah.
Because then like, how do I properly respond to other people's personal things
Right.
as like a company, or even
that's really hard too, because you have people like sharing like personal issues or
the family of their
testimonies.
kids, and Declare Glory just like, you would comment as a person, oh
And I
my
could
goodness,
have my
that's
own
so
views,
cute.
and that would be fine.
But Declare Glory, if I said that's so cute, would they be like, why didn't, like, is this weird?
Is this a man speaking, or
yeah.
like
So all of those are really hard to engage, and
That's
so I've
hard,
really
yeah.
struggled to figure out how you engage too, because you also have to be careful if you engage with only like other people who are like you,
Right.
then that's all you're going to see on your
right.
your media, and that's probably all who's going to see you. And
Yeah.
so it's just
I know
hard.
that's an interesting.
Yeah.
That's a brain twister. That's really interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know how you do it if you are.
Yeah, if you know how Greg should do it, send
Yeah,
him
it's
an
like
email.
a restaurant. Ooh, that looks good.
I love seeing brands like
Yeah.
engage, because I'm always like, I wonder who's like really behind it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. I guess you just got to find what works and put some more guidelines down for even like brand commenting. Like,
Yep.
I know people do it, but yeah. Okay. Before we end, I want to ask some fun questions. Are you
Okay.
ready? Unless you have anything more to share about branding.
No.
No, I felt like you
I'm
went
good if you're
deep in
good.
your mind. I'm
I'm
good.
good if you're good.
Are you guys good? I mean, you can't answer, so. Okay, cool. So, what is your most useless talent as GMK, Greg McKinney?
Oh my goodness. Useless talent.
I know it's hard for you, so I wanted to ask you that for sure. I hope your wife is watching this
Oh
part.
my
This is
gosh.
great. I want to see what you say.
Useless talent. Can I have two?
Oh, two. Okay.
I actually used to be a gymnast, so I can still have talent in doing that. That's my funny one.
Wait. You used to what?
I used to be a gymnast,
What was the other thing you said?
which is sort of funny one, but like
Okay.
I can do backflips and everything. Like, that's a useless talent, right?
What?
I don't know. It doesn't.
You
no
guys,
purpose of that.
Greg you always surprise me with one more thing.
But the other one is, she would agree, but she would also say that I'm like a huge critic of this. I'm really good at picking out people's dresses. Like, that's probably a really useless
for like
talent.
anybody.
Yeah, any body type. Like, I love, like, so don't put me in front of like that whole, like, what's the say yes to the dress.
Oh, okay. So
Don't-
you're
yeah,
gonna struggle.
I really have a hard time sometimes. I'm
yeah,
like,
you're like,
oh.
that's not good for you.
And that's really weird, but my wife is like, would shake her head at this point.
Well, here's the thing. It's not weird to me because you're a designer.
Yeah.
So us designers.
So that's a useless talent. Is that helpful? I don't even know what other
it's
talent-
useless, but it's like it makes sense to me. Like, designers are really good with fashion.
Yeah.
Because we think curves and lines and spacing, and
Yeah.
so
I don't know any
that's
other
it.
talent.
It was only
Yeah.
one, but you answered
That's
two. I
good.
think you like won the award.
I didn't know if those
of
were
our
like
podcast
talents.
series.
That's why I was like, are these talents or just things?
I think it's talents.
There you go.
It's hard to get dressed some days for some of us. Okay, if you were on an island, what three things would you take?
My wife. Is that
Fair,
okay?
touche. It's not a thing. That's a human, but that's fine.
I would take my phone. Yep. And
Probably run all of Declare Glory and Glory Church's social media and websites from the
be
island.
taking some pictures. Let me tell you.
Yeah, you'd run everything, I'm sure.
And I would probably, let's see, what is another thing I would
So
take?
that's two.
Yeah.
Kate, and then
I mean, my
phone.
Yeah. Can I just say family? We'll go with that into
Family's
Kate.
one. Okay, I'll let you
Yeah.
have it. Pushing it.
And then I would probably take. Oh gosh, I don't know. I'm not very
Really?
needy.
I mean, you can be creative.
I mean, I would take a house. I don't know.
A house on a boat. Okay. That's a whole vibe.
Gosh, I don't know.
Vision. Okay. And then last question is not really fun, but like it's kind of like interesting. What's next for you and everything you're doing?
Yeah. Well, I am, just trying to build Glory Church.
Yes,
That's next.
me too.
This is a good thing. So in 2 weeks, Kate and I are taking a little getaway week thing.
Okay.
Where we are talking through and putting real concrete ideas. We want to write a relationship, marriage, and sex book.
Come on. That's
we wanted
dope.
to for a long time. Actually, part of my background as well as hers is in that I love like the psychology. I used to want to be a sexpert.
Really?
Like, which is a real thing.
Another thing that I'm surprised by.
So we're coming on 10 years, so we're going to start like nailing down like how that would be.
That's awesome. You guys are like low-key experts, I guess. 10 years.
Gosh. But just like relationship, there's things, especially from a godly perspective. And so, I mean, I could literally talk for hours on that.
I think it's going to be interesting. You got to when you come out with it, maybe both of you can come back on the Creatives Conversation.
Because we're very big on just our evangelical like culture has not taught men how to be very intimate, and so there's a whole lot of like misconceptions and issues and even sexual sins that have come because of it. And we're just like, oh, men will be men. And we wonder like why pastors are failing left and right, and it's just the theology that we teach and all of that. So
or don't teach.
Yeah,
that's good.
So
I feel like women will definitely gain some truth from that too.
So we're excited for that. Marriage counseling is one of my favorite things, so that'll be fun. And then, I mean, if we get the space, which we are, a portable church right now, and so we're looking to lease to own, so that's been on the huge horizon. But if we get that space, then
in the middle
I'm
of
literally doing all that I've spoken with this event space that'll come to pass. And so everything I just said will have to start happening. All while also doing all of that with Glory Church.
With running a church.
Yes.
You're good for it. You're made for that.
So those are the things on the horizon.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah.
I think that's great. All right. Last thing. How can these wonderful people connect with you?
In just any way.
Whatever way you want them to. So if you give them your phone number, I cannot stop the wild times from rolling on. So just be careful.
Honestly, I would give that. So,
just
I want to if you don't want me to.
Probably not. For your wife's sake.
No. I mean, they can email me at any time. It's just the greg@glorychurchkc.com. I also, I mean, anytime they want to reach out, I also am on like social media. It's just Greg A. McKinney. And they can see like my family. I don't post on there as much as I should, just because it's really hard to do your personal account when you're in charge of like
others.
Other
Declare
accounts.
Glory. So follow Declare Glory,
Declare
right?
Glory,
on Instagram,
and then
Facebook.
Glory Church KC, all
Glory
of
Church
that.
KC.
So you can sort of see the things we do. My wife, though, you should follow her, Kate's Concepts.
Kate's Concepts, just like it sounds.
Yep.
Okay.
And then because she's up pretty awesome.
I
She
follow
writes. Any moms out there who are trying to do a business in general, like
she's crushing it.
Yeah, well, she just has that whole heart with like how do you raise kids and try to do things
and be holistically like healthy and
so
have
all
joy.
those kind of things.
Yeah, that's amazing. Cool.
So.
Anything else you want to share before?
I'm good.
He's like, I'm good. You've done
good
enough.
if you're good.
I'm good if you're good. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Greg, thank you for coming.
Yeah,
this has been
my
fun.
Pleasure.
We will see you on the next Creatives Conversation. See you later. Bye.